Well, I think it's a stretch. I don't know exactly what they're up to. I haven't heard, but I do know that B of A is there, and I know that B of A is not a solvent bank. How this will evolve, I don't know. All I know is that the whole system's in trouble, and that's why we tell you what we tell you on this program.
Mm. Now, I know, Mr. Chapman, you have a deep history and knowledge of this pedophile Kennedy that died yesterday or day before, and this next question is leaning to you in the sense of, with his death, do you see the Kennedys having some infighting on taking over a government seat as a senator, either from Massachusetts, New York, or Florida?
Well, I know that Massachusetts law says that you can't appoint anybody, you got to have a special election. And they just passed that probably in 2003, 4, or 5. And so they're going to have to do that. I don't see how they're going to get around it. They want to appoint somebody, but I think there'll be a big fight over it. And, it was interesting. Kennedy was in part responsible for that passage of that law. And I knew Teddy when he was a kid. We hung around together during the summer at Oyster Harbors. And I never got along very well with him, but I did with the other boy who was with us, Tommy Cronin. And so I knew the Kennedy family pretty well when I was young. And so I got a good feel for what they think about things. And I'm sure they're going to try to get somebody into the office, at least temporarily, so they can vote. This is what they're after, the Senate vote. And I don't think they're going to be able to do it.
I agree. Me personally, I agree. There's enough infighting out there amongst the Kennedys off-site. Even Robert Kennedy Jr., who lives in Florida, who hasn't talked to his uncle since he was caught in a sandwich sexual act in a bar in 1990. He walked away from him then, and has had nothing to do with him, calling his uncle an evil person. This is just 2 days after his uncle's death, and he's not ashamed to make the statement again in Florida. That doesn't necessarily mean he won't go to the funeral, but it does say a lot to what the infighting is going on with the Kennedy family.
Well, there's always been infighting there among them, especially in these latter years. They got along pretty good when they were kids, but families squabble, and you always have dark, ghosts in your family, things you don't want to talk about, and obviously that's one of them. But I'm not privy to that information. I am on George Bush, but not on Ted Kennedy.
Mr. C, this is from Massachusetts. Mr. C, insiders here in Massachusetts politics, as well as insiders that I personally know that are in the Kennedy family, say that the two top candidates for his job is his now widow and Joe Kennedy, his nephew. Despite official demurrals, both want the seat very much. These are coming from insiders, and they both feel they're entitled. Mr. Chapman, entitled? When did we have entitlement from senator in a senator's family to get any control of financial Senate seat as such that this is in Massachusetts?
Well, I spent my first 20 years in Massachusetts, so I know what you're talking about. One of the reasons I left is that J. Michael Curley was elected mayor of Boston again in 1948 while he was incarcerated at Danbury Federal Penitentiary. So that shows you where the heads of Boston voters are. But, you get the same royalty syndrome in the Rockefeller family and on and on and on. And these wealthy, enormously rich people think that they're better than everybody else, and they're not. I mean, I've known these people, And in fact, Ted Kennedy wasn't half as smart as I was. And so, what makes them think that they're royalty? Only because of their wealth and their ability to badger people and give the public's money away to somebody else.